Hey guys, welcome back to Red Bandit Racing, and today I got the sledge out here. I kind of want to give you guys an overview on how it's been the last couple weeks. I ran the 4S on it about twice, and I ran the 6S 4 times. This will be the 5th. So it's ran really great. There has been some hiccups, and I wanted to show you also on a repair I did when I replaced the shock caps and I put the hex hubs on. I actually put the hex hubs on wrong. So thank you to Savvy707 for showing me this. Let me turn the camera around. So I don't have my normal camera because I'm actually out of town, and I figured I'd fix up the sledge and take it for a spin. All right guys, so if you take your 2.0 hex driver, if you go inside the hub right here, there's actually a grub screw right inside. So you loosen that, and the pin will actually come out so that you can take that spline hub off. So, I mean, the way I did it, it worked, but it is the wrong way. I couldn't find the information on how to do it properly. So thank you, Savvy707, for showing me this. Real easy, just loosen up. And you don't need to put this real tight. Just loosen up, pop the pin out, put the new hub on, pop the pin in. You may have to hold the pin in while you tighten this grub screw down, and you should be good to go. Also, let me take the body off here. One-handed. So we did put the new shock caps on. Everything seems to be running fine. And I did break 2 teeth on the spur gear, and you can probably see it. Let me get a little drive right here for you. The boot for the front diff, that tore. And I think it's because I ran over some debris and some bark got in here, and it spun around and tore this boot. Sorry if the camera's not angled right. It tore this boot. I also chipped 2 teeth on the spur gear. So I went ahead and replaced that. What you got to do is take this chassis brace off. It's 2 screws. And you take this chassis brace off right here. And that's the only way you're going to be able to get to it in order to replace it. It's a really simple repair. As far as the spur gear, I'll put the part numbers in the description. But the gear that it comes with, it's pot metal. I mean, they say it's steel, but it's pot metal. It's not hardened steel. And I've had issues with those on the Max. We've actually stripped 2 of them out before we went to the hardened steel. So I actually went to go pick one up while I'm out of town here so I can run it. And they actually had a hardened steel. And it is by Traxxas for the sledge. And you can't find that part under the spur and pinions in the Traxxas site. It's not listed. You actually have to search for the part number. So I'll put that part number down so you guys will have it, but that is the hardened spur gear, and I believe it's the 52 tooth. And it's also pretty simple to repair. And what I'll probably do is show you guys repair and all that when I get back into town. That way you guys can see how you're supposed to service this. But everything seems fine now. Everything's working good. I don't know why they would put a hardened pinion with a steel spur gear, because we've broken a lot of them. That's why we switched to the hardened spur gear and the hardened pinion, and it kind of eliminates a lot of those problems. The only other problem that I do notice, I love how all the linkage is captured with a nut. That really does help to keep things from falling off. But the only problem is everything was loose when I got it. After running it for a couple of weeks, everything came loose again. So you're gonna have to go through and tighten all these screws for all the linkage every now and then to make sure they don't come loose. I would probably put a little bit of Loctite on that nut before putting it back in, and that might help. That's probably what I'm going to do next. I've had to go through and tighten all the screws on this. That's the only thing that I don't like. Other than that, the chassis is not bent. Everything's straight. There's been no other problems. This truck has ran really well. It's going to be a little bit louder because it does have a hardened spur gear in it now, so it might be a little louder. But I mean, that's no big deal. All right, the wind started picking up a little bit, so I'm going to do my best to do this one-handed. The only thing I don't like about those hardened spur gears and pinions, they are definitely noisier. you haven't noticed, the Max is incredibly noisy. There's no real big jumps I can hit here, guys, so I'm kind of just messing around. Ooh, this thing's hauling. The center diff was low. I did fill it up with some 20 million weight. I am definitely not going to stuff it with those silicone plugs to try and lock up the center diff. And the reason is, we race these on the track a lot. And if you lock up that center diff, it's gonna make it really hard to turn left and right on a track, because the front wheels are gonna fight with the rear, and it's gonna make turning really, really difficult. If you plan on just bashing and jumping ramps and stuff like that, then I would probably definitely lock it up, because you're gonna get a lot more rotation and it's gonna evenly distribute the power from front to rear. And it's gonna be a lot better for you. But if you're racing around the grass and the park and on the racetrack, I would leave it the way it is. Just make sure it's not low on fluid, which stock it is 20 million weight, which I think is thick enough as it is. This thing's got so much power. Wow. On-demand wheelies. Wish there was a spot I can jump in here for you, but people over there at the baseball park feel I want to interrupt them. Woo! Just want to kind of get it fixed up and running. Woo! Oh, but yeah, I mean, I've already replaced the shock caps. Now I've done the rear drive boot. I've also had to replace the spur gear. The shock caps, if you guys are just getting this car now, or you plan on it, I would plan on buying a set right now of those aluminum shock caps. There's no real protection on those other than the body. Yeah, and about the tires, they have not come unglued. Everything has been perfect. Tires have handled great. This thing is a beast. Once I get all the bugs worked out of it, which I think they're going good now. I think everything's fine. Red Leader thinks the Max is better, so I think the Max and the Sledge are gonna have to go head to head. Also, I wanted to point something out. If you guys like doing bicycles and stuff like that, just doing tricks, lock up that diff. Put those silicone air plugs in the diff, lock it up, and it'll hold bicycles all day long. Just make sure if you're putting the silicone earplugs in it, make sure they are 100% silicone. You don't want to put anything else like that in, no foam. That'll tear it up. It'll actually have the opposite effect. So, but yeah, the Sledge is great. I can see a lot of problems with those boots on those inner drives. And I can see a lot of problems with the spur gear chipping because it's all open. You know, when it's open like that, it's open for debris to fall in it and break it. So, because everything is going to get trapped inside here. And I know why they did this. They wanted to keep it cool. So that's why they designed it this way. It helps it to dissipate the heat quicker. But if you get stuff in here, it's going to be really easy to chip a tooth. You're going to be able to break those seals on the front or the back. They're cheap. You could buy the boots. I think they come in a pair or two for $10. Or you can buy the kit, which comes with the boots, the drive cups, and the screws. And that's about $15. I love this truck. The only thing I would want more than this would probably be the X-Max. That's probably my dream truck. And it's just because I like the monster truck. This is nice. I don't mind the stadium trucks. I know this is called a Truggy, But I don't mind the stadium trucks. They're low to the ground. They're really fast. And they're almost bulletproof. So, but an X-Max is, it's like my dream truck. That I would love to get next. All right, so that's a little update for you guys. Sorry if it's a little bit windy. If you're thinking about getting a sledge, I would highly recommend one. They are extremely fun. So much you can do with them. All right, guys. Well, that's the update. If you guys have questions, please leave a comment. Please subscribe and like. Helps us to make more of these videos for you guys. Stay tuned for a lot more coming up. Stay tuned for more Revo. Finally got that thing tuned right. I think it's actually running good now, so we might switch fuels on that, but we'll update you then. See you guys on the next one.